welcome to SVG-TV's news for Friday, November the 15th, 2019. I am Bhavin there with the details. Green Lava Labs, a newly formed medicinal cannabis cultivation company, was officially granted permission to operate in SVG, having successfully gone through inspections carried out by the SVG Medicinal Cannabis Authority. Today's launching ceremony took place at Green Lava Labs farm in Vermont on the leeward side of the island. CEO of the Medicinal Cannabis Authority, Dr. Gerald Thompson, said he is pleased with the work of the company, which received its Class C license in July this year.
I'm very pleased that, all the companies have to seek permission to start actually putting cannabis plants in the ground. Some may have already done so from the process of experimentation and research. I think Green Lava would have been one of those. But in terms of now, we can officially, I have the letter in my hand, signed, giving Green Lava the permission to now go ahead for full-scale operations because they have passed the test, they've done the work. And I must say, even though the road coming here is a little perilous, and I want to say that I am thoroughly impressed with the operations, Green Lava. You should be very.
Chief Operating Officer Lindsay LaBelle says the company will provide assistance to other local farmers groups in the medicinal cannabis industry.
Great to us. We're really proud to be here and recognize all the hard work the MCA has done to get this going, which is a game changer in the world because you guys are one of the few countries in the world that have done this, and rightfully so. Since day one, we had a guy named Ronald Providence who's showed us around the whole country, and he's one of the most resourceful people I've ever met. I'd like to thank Ronald and his partner Dylan. They've been great to us. We'll be proud to sign an agreement with Farmer Solution, their company, today for the 10%, along with the Griggs Rastafarian.
The company will be allowed to extract, import, export, dispense, and cultivate marijuana. However, initially they will be allowed to start with 5 acres in the first year and eventually will increase to 25 acres of land under marijuana cultivation for medical purposes. Minister of Agriculture Subota Caesar said he is particularly pleased that locals were taken on board to work with the company, which he also praised for investing in a new industry here in SVG.
Not a no-come group. Green Lava was there from the period of the consultations. When we went to the select committee, Green Lava was there. When we went into the villages, Green Lava was also there. When we wanted technical support, Green Lava was also there. So Green Lava is not a company that came after the whole industry was established. And one of the reasons I really want to recognize this, if it did not happen, they would have lost thousands of dollars that they would have invested because you came in before the legislation and you are not certain if the legislation was going to be passed and accepted. And I really want to show the appreciation for that.
Green Lava Labs will continue to be monitored and inspected by the SVG Medicinal Cannabis Authority. Officers serving with the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force have been urged to find their purpose and served with the best of their abilities. The encouragement came from Reverend Adolph Davis at the Elson Richardson Memorial Lecture, hosted last evening by the RSVG Police Force and the Police Welfare Association. Reverend Davis said that police officers have a purpose and it goes hand in hand with the law, which they must uphold.
In this thing, you're far more able to deal with crime problems and address things. But when everybody feels them in their own corner, you in your own corner and I in mine, you are not able to be as effective in addressing and enabling orderliness. You see, this principle is a very fundamental principle to how we must exist. You are not just a police officer with a badge and a baton or a gun. You are a part of a bigger picture that represents a world created for order, with order, in order. And that's what your function is here for. And if you don't have a sense of that purpose, that you are part of an ordered world for order, then you become part of the chaos and confusion. If you don't appreciate that you are part of an ordered world, which is also a part of a moral world, then you contribute to the immorality and the breakdown in our society.
The lecture was held under the theme, Honoring the Fallen and Brave. Deputy Police Commissioner Frank Joseph said that Elson Richardson was a very good investigator whose life was snuffed out at the peak of his career.
This brave and competent police officer had a very promising future ahead of him. But after serving for 16 solid years in the organization that he loved, his life was senselessly taken away from us. It was 15 years ago on today's date, on a Sunday night, when the police force received the shocking news that P.C. Richardson was killed. What made it more painful was that his death was not by accident or misadventure, but through malice and intent. His killer was convicted in the Lockwood's and is now serving his sentence at Her Majesty's Prison for his crime.
Chairman of the Police Welfare Association, Station Sergeant Brenton Smith, said that as the police reflect on the life of the fallen, meaningful reflection must also be given to those who continue to serve the organization with pride.
It also gives us an indication on how we as police officers, both at the hierarchy and ordinary level, viewed his death. What did we do different as an organization? What security measures did we put in place? Have we as an organization embraced human and citizen security in our dwellings? These are questions that we all must ask ourselves.
Increase in maternity leave, having paternity leave, and balancing family life and work were some of the suggestions made to members of the SVG Teachers Union by lawyer Zita Barnwell, who delivered a feature address at the rally held today to culminate Teachers Solidarity Week. The annual Teachers March and Rally was held under the theme, Vincentian Educators and SVGTU taking the lead. Barnwell said that teachers are educators of the nation's youth, hence they need to be treated with the utmost respect.
The union must therefore ensure that it successfully negotiates good terms for improving family life of its teachers. Lead the way in helping teachers to create stable foundations for family. And one way I would suggest for doing so is to increase maternity leave. Perhaps the union can say that by 2030, teachers must get 1 year maternity leave. And so also to ensure that gender equity takes place, the union should increase the number of months for paternity leave.
Barnwell added that consideration must be made for single-parent-headed homes and proper bargaining must be done on their behalf.
One of the stark realities of teaching is that more than 69% of teachers are women. Many homes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are single-headed and single-headed by females, and many of you are teachers. So the question is, how do we ensure that the personal and professional challenges faced by single-parent teachers are treated with special care and concern?
Meanwhile, President of the SVG Teachers Union, Wendy Bino, said the Solidarity Week is a time of reflection on the historic 1975 strike by teachers who stood up for their rights, and this must not be forgotten.
It is a time for us to reflect and a time for us to remember our heroes who made the sacrifices, who took the lead when they were arrested, tear gas, fired, transferred. And I want to leave you with this quote: if you're not at the table, you are on the menu.
Foot care practitioner in the Ministry of Health, Janice Oliver Crease, said a major health complication with diabetes foot is foot ulcers and urges those with the condition to always wear comfortable footwear to avoid damaging their feet and toes, which can cause a foot ulcer. Speaking at a symposium hosted yesterday by the SVG Diabetes and Hypertension Association in commemoration of World Diabetes Day, Sister Crease said that it is estimated that in every second a diabetic extremity is being amputated worldwide due to complications of diabetes and secondary foot ulcers.
Diabetic foot ulcer is not only a patient problem or a client problem, but also a major healthcare concern throughout the world. So not only in St. Vincent. Diabetic foot ulcer is one of the common and serious complications of diabetic patients. So sometimes it starts by your toe, where you can traumatize your toe. And that is why I always say do not walk bare feet. Do not walk with your toes exposed, because you are exposed to trauma.
The foot care practitioner said a foot ulcer can cause a person to be in a hospital for a long period of time, which can lead to depression and a burden on the patient's family.
The family members also have been affected because they have to visit you regularly in the hospital. Let's look at it to see how expensive it is. Traveling to where you live in, to come to the hospital, maybe to pick up your dirty linens, to wash them and to bring them back to you. It costs for money. It costs for time. Now the person might have a job. Now the employer might not even want to give them any time to even run to the hospital to grab something from you and pick it up. So if you look at it, it affects everybody all around. It's a complete circle. 365, it's a complete circle. Because the person going to say, but every minute you're asking me for time for go hospital. Boss, my mommy in the hospital, my daddy in the hospital, my husband in the hospital, my wife in the hospital. I need some time to go. But at the same time, you have to realize that that's your daily bread.
World Diabetes Day 2019 was observed yesterday under the theme, The Family and Diabetes, with the tagline, Diabetes, Protect Your Family. The nation's youth have been encouraged to maintain their love of science and problem-solving skills to help further develop SVG. This encouragement comes from Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Deborah Charles, at today's prize-giving ceremony of the 2019 Science and Technology Fair. Over 30 schools, including primary, secondary, participated in this year's fair, with 4 persons in the open category. At today's prize-giving ceremony, several medals and trophies were handed out at the outstanding individuals and groups. The top 3 spots in the primary schools category went to the Lower Bay Primary, the St. Martin's Roman Catholic, and the Lodge Village Government School. The top 3 secondary schools are the St. Martin's Secondary, the Stanley Bay Government, and the Bishop's College, Kingston. Permanent Secretary Charles said she was impressed by the creativity shown by the youth and encouraged them to continue on their path so that they can make their contribution to the development of SVG.
As we look at the theme for this year's fair, turning problems into opportunities, and the projects that were displayed, you would agree with me that students dabbling with the scientific process to advance local issues is heartwarming, and you would have heard that by the speakers that preceded me. The over 300 students from primary and the secondary school levels have exhibited their projects this week really showed their abilities to address real-life problems. I want to encourage you, students, to continue on the path of scientific solutions. It is only in this way that you can advance and make this country a better place.
Charles noted that teachers have a profound impact on the overall development of the nation's youth and thanked them for their hard work.
The support and the commitment of our teachers, who have been and are the main pillars on which the rest of the foundations and the quality of education lie. Thus, we extend to the teachers and the principals and the parents of the students as well our warmest congratulations for your participation in this fair. Students, We thank you because without you, without your projects here today, there would be no fair. May you continue to explore and to create so that one day you too can be added to the world's list of inventors who turn the problems into opportunities.
Delivering the judge's assessment was the fair's coordinator, Juanita Hunt King, who said despite a few setbacks, the judging was done early and that many students were well prepared for the fair.
Also reported that students were better prepared as a result of how they presented themselves and their projects. They did so very well. A few judges, however, felt that a few schools did not do enough to orient their students to the judging criteria, even after having it 1 year in advance. The secondary and open categories were judged on the 13th of November. 24 judges comprising education officers, retired teachers and scientists working at various ministries in the government and other institutions served on the day. A total of 128 projects were judged in 1 day with time to spare. Way to go, judges. A few judges reported that they enjoyed the experience, and though it was tedious at times, the reward was in seeing the efforts of the students and the participants. One judge suggested that we immortalize some of this year's entries in a magazine or calendar.
The unique talent and skills of persons benefiting from technical vocational education training (TVET) were on full display today at an exhibition hosted by the Sector Skills Development Agency at the Heritage Square. Over 20 exhibitors involved in a wide variety of fields such as woodwork, electrical and solar installation, as well as the culinary arts from various technical institutes and other training centers took part in today's exhibition. Director of the National Qualifications Department, the Secretariat of the Sector Skills Development Agency, Kenroy Cattels, said the exhibition was designed to help build a greater relationship between the public, TVET institutions and students. Cattels said TVET is important to the development of the nation and the exhibition can help to promote TVET nationwide.
We have persons from training institutions here. We have over 20-something exhibitors from training institution, the college, the technical institutes, ACE. We have from Invest SVG. We have a number of other entities, private and public stakeholders who are exhibiting here today. So the whole thing is to let the public become more aware of the importance of TVET in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's no more that perception where you can't learn, so you do something, you do a skill. Skills are not just for persons who cannot learn, it is for persons who want to excel. You don't build a car with no academic competence, so you have to have the academics mixed with the technical and the practical approach in order to be creative in developing and producing. Because one of the things that's going to build the economy is being able to produce. And the more of our citizens we get to be able to produce, giving them a skill and so on, is the more that our economy is going to grow. So this month, the theme is technical and vocational education and training, improving the employability of youths and adults for the Vincentian economy, for sustainability in the Vincentian economy and beyond.
Cattell said the exhibition also allows the exhibitors to display their skills to potential employers and investors.
I think it's very good because the public themselves will know the opportunities that exist within TVET. The employers would know what are some of the things being done, and we can have more linkages. You know, that networking that is required between our trainees, the training institutions and the employers, because this is where we are looking at. We need our persons to be attached to employers so that they can be easily transfer or transition from an education, a classroom setting into the real world of work. So we are doing this also to form a closer bond with the employers. So we hope that they're going to come out and take advantage of what is being exhibited here today, find out how they can help, and because the more we develop these skills, is the better for the employers.
TVET in the past carried with it a stigma, and Cattell said given the support at today's exhibition, that mindset seemed to be changing and highlighted some of the areas in advancement in TVET.
So yes, I think the concept that TVET is now more just for people who can't use their brain and could only use their hand, that is slowly erasing. And we know that the government is 100% behind, you know, developing TVET at different levels. We have at the college, we have at ACE, we have at the Technical Institute, and TVET goes into university. In fact, there are university graduates who want to get into skill training and so on as well. So it's no more that sort of perception that, boy, it's a menial kind of a stuff, you know, and if you can't cope academic, you go technical. We are saying no. We need our brilliant minds, our academic minds, to be involved in technical. And we can produce more, we can manufacture more in St. Vincent, and that's what we are looking for.
Her Majesty's Prisons, the Ministries of Education and National Mobilization, along with Team Athletics SVG, will be benefited from a large amount of resources handed over today by the Agents of Change organization. Representative of the organization, Othniel James, said that they are committed to make SVG a better place, noting that some years ago he was given a vision by God to work with the prisoners and to help their families, especially those who are less fortunate.
By we being so faithful to that vision, by helping the least of them, he says, when you help the least of them, you do it unto him. God has opened up tremendous doors for us in Canada. We do not even have the capacity to bring this stuff here to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, okay? Right now we can fill at least 2-3 containers of stuffs to bring here to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but by God's grace, we are in the process of doing as much as we can. So we are here to work with the prison department primarily. We are also here to work with the medical Ministry of Health, also mobilization, and also the Ministry of Education. All right. So as we have these materials to supply this great nation of ours, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I also want to extend thanks to few of our sponsors in North America, who without them, we would not be able to make it possible to bring these stuffs in.
Superintendent of Prisons Brenton Charles said that the donation will go a long way in helping to alleviate some of the prisoners' stress of not being able to support their families while behind bars. Representatives of the other recipients also expressed gratitude to the Agents of Change for their donation.
I think it would go a long way in assisting our men and women who are in prison. Naturally, when you're in prison, you can't earn. And very often you have loved ones, and most of the time children who are left behind, or maybe an elderly parent, and they, you know, can't fend for themselves as they really should. And it's really good when organizations, individuals, you know, see the need to assist.
I wish to express heartfelt gratitude to the Agents of Change for the donation to the ministry for our clients, the most vulnerable in our society.
On behalf of Team Athletics SVG, and a personal thank you from all athletes, coaches, parents especially, we would like to say a heartfelt thank you. It is blissful to see that there are still organizations throughout the world giving back.
You know, when you give sincerely, you can ask for better. And I am not even looking at the quantum. I don't even cast my eyes as to what the ministry is receiving. Because as the pastor said, bless those, God bless those who give. And he also bless those who receive. So I am not going to look at the quantum. I'm going to look at the thought.
We are ever so grateful for any action of gratitude from our citizens. And we are even more appreciative when those citizens are not going to be direct recipients of the care that we give.
Christmas is known as a season for caring, sharing, and celebrating the birth of Christ. However, the season usually attracts criminal activities, which the police have been trying to crack down through a number of measures. One of such measures is to educate the public on how they can safeguard themselves and property from criminal elements through the annual crime prevention exhibition. This year's exhibition will be held on December 6 and will again feature security options available to the public, as well as health and safety information. Corporal attached to the CID IT department of the RSVG Police Force, Sion Choi, said this year the crime prevention exhibition will be expanded to cover issues such as sexual offenses.
The Ministry of National Mobilization going to collaborate with us in our exhibition because we know that we have a lot of domestic violence, child abuse, sexual abuse. So this time they're going to collaborate with us. It's going to be a fantastic day, and we're going to have even the sexual offenses units going to be there. They have posts that will be assigned from Ministry of National Mobilization. For example, the director, Miss Kwame Harris, she's going to be there. The director, she's the driving force behind of that. They also have a week of activities, but on that day they will collaborate with us in showcasing the pamphlets, the flyers, and even speaking on that day at our exhibition and advise the public the do and don'ts and how to report and what to do if you are a victim of any of those abuse.
SVG and other ECCB member states have recently rolled out the new polymer EC dollar notes currently in circulation. Corporal Choi says several officers have received training in the security features of the polymer notes, and they will be on hand at the exhibition to provide the necessary information to persons.
CID, we're going to have our very own ASV Hezron Ballantyne going to be there showcasing security features on the new polymer notes. I know it's a new feature that person not familiar with, so we expecting person to come out to detect the new notes, the new EC currency that's newly launched from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And ASC Ballantyne recently returned from an extended week training on the polymer notes, so lots of knowledge, lots of person going to be giving information on that day. So we invite the general public to come out, support us in that venture to protect the citizens and visitors alike, because the theme for the exhibition is securing citizens and visitors through innovative policing. So we look in the holistic approach to solve crime in this age.
Pickpocketed and burglaries are also issues of concern during the Christmas season, and Corporal Choi shared some advice with the public on how they can avoid being a victim of such crimes.
There's a lot of pickpockets and burglary, theft does be happening around the time. So we advise like vehicle owners, when you park your vehicle, do not leave valuables exposed on your seat that person can damage or break in your vehicle too. So we advise person do not do that. Secure these valuables. When you go and you have large amount of cash, we advise you to be discreet when you counting. If you go to the ATM, stay in the ATM, put aside your cash, don't exit the ATM and try to count the money on the outside. Person will be looking at you, and especially these times, they will be able to rob you or pull your purse, handbag. And on relates to handbag, we advise ladies, make sure you keep your handbag under your arm, in front of you, especially males. The wallets, we advise them to put them in the front pockets, especially in the busy street, in the middle street. We expect persons to be vigilant and be alert as you travel through the country.